And then for the next question, um, what made you write your 11th book about your grandfather's experience? And just like an extra question, how do you think he would feel if he read Zadie's War?
Okay, so I wrote my first book in 2010. I self-published most of the initial books that I wrote. I've always wanted to be a writer. It felt like it was part of my DNA. And I kept cranking out book after book after book. I've published some parody Haggadot that you might be aware of. I
Hmm.
wrote the Emoji Haggadah, the Festivus Haggadah, the Coronavirus Haggadah, the Shakespeare Haggadah. That's gotten a lot of press. But I didn't want to be a one-trick pony, so I had to write
Yeah.
something serious. So actually, the collection of this story began in 2000, newly married, and my wife had a gig in the city as a shelf's helper. 2003 was when I sat down with my grandfather because I was like, what do I do with my Thursday nights? I'm open. So I gave my mother a call and I said, you know, the stories that Zadie keeps telling, I think it's time to collect it and put it together, and we'll see if I can make a book out of it. So we sat down for several successive Thursday nights until he started repeating himself. And that's what we knew. They pretty much collected the entire story, but I wasn't a writer yet. I didn't know how to do it and
Mm.
what the business was like and so forth. So it's kind of sat on the shelf. It sat on and VHSs in a box in my mother's house. I think you guys might know what VHSs were. And once I started cranking out books
Yeah.
and one after another, I was like, okay, I understand how this works. I know the business. I've gotten some contracts and relationships with publishers. It's time to package this up and reach out. So I reached out to Amsterdam Publishers, which is the largest publisher of Holocaust literature in Europe, and as well. We wrote up a contract real quick. They said yes immediately because once they saw that it was four armies and everything else that was attached to the story, and including the backstory, because I made this pitch and got working on it. That's the story of how this book came to be. And now that I've established myself as a non-one-trick pony, I'm working on the next couple of Haggadot, but heavily marketing this one as we speak. As for the second
Yeah.
question, the second half, question two
Yeah.
B,
Yeah.
what would my grandfather
Yeah.
think? He was very nonchalant. Like, I know that he was proud of me for a great deal of things, but he was the kind of guy who wouldn't praise anybody in person. He'd praise people behind their backs. So I'm a marathon runner, and he never really told me that like what I was doing was cool or interesting or go get him. But I always heard from my mom and my cousins that and then he'd praise me behind my back to somebody else really into this running thing that I do. So I can't even imagine like if I would have like handed him the book, he would be like, "All right, very good." Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And then
sorry,
you hear back from
you heard
everyone
from
Yeah,
else, oh
other
that's
my
people, so
gosh.
that's how that would roll, I
Jewish
guess.
grandpa.